After the accident, Seo tried to go upstairs and there was already little Dong Ju who saw him. Suddenly his mother called Song Hyun, but Dong Ju felt that it was his mother's call from heaven. Someone saw the accident and called the emergency services and Seo saw the boy walking away. He thought it was his hallucination. And after Dong Ju woke up, he said that the person who killed his father and mother was Seo. When Dr. Kang's father borrowed his daughter's laptop, he saw Dong Ju's video and played it. Dr. Kang left her cell phone behind. When she was going to get her cell phone, she saw her father watching Dong Ju's video. Dr. Kang was a bit annoyed about it and her father gave an excuse. He accidentally saw Dong Ju's video which was still playing. Her father was curious why he mentioned Seo's name and his daughter explained that Dong Ju had an unexplained trauma towards Seo. He lost his memory because of a gunshot wound, but the chaos in his memory was deep enough that he thought that Seo shot him. His father felt very sorry for Dong Ju, but he shouldn't think that Seo was the culprit, because according to his father, that doesn't make sense. Seo woke up from his nightmare and Dong Ju was sitting in front of him. Seo felt that Dong Ju had no manners, because he had entered without permission several times. But Dong Ju had already gotten his wife's permission. He wanted to wake Seo up, but Dong Ju said he would just wait. Then Dong Ju showed him an article about the crash, and Seo was curious as to why Dong Ju was looking for this article. Dong Ju explained that Yeo in the article referred to Yeo San-ho. And Ha referred to Seo. However, who is the woman next to Yeo? Then Seo said he was Chu Jae-won. They were all friends during college. Dr. Kang's father, Kong Song, Seo, Dookie, and Yeo San-ho, also Chu Jae-won. Seo wanted Dong Ju to show this article to Un-nam, say firmly and clearly that Seo did not kill San-ho. But Dong Ju thought it was too cruel to tell Un-nam the painful fact, because that's not what the survivor said, and Seo explained that the only survivor of the incident was him. Everyone died and only he survived. Then Dong Ju took a pack of tissues and beat it. He said that at that time Seo tightened his seat belt and filled his mouth with tissues as if it were a breathing tube. Then after reversing the car far away, Seo increased speed and hit the car. Right before the car collided, Seo and him made eye contact. He remembered clearly that he asked Seo to help him. Seo was shocked. Who is Dong Ju really? And Dong Ju answered, he is Song Hyun, the boy sitting in the back seat. Seo explaining that Dong Ju remembered wrongly, the truck hit his car and San-ho's car before running away. Seo thought Dong Ju was still a child who was traumatized and remembered everything wrong. When Seo wanted to approach, Dong Ju forbade him, because Dong Ju could kill him. Dong Ju wanted President Ha, Mrs. Cha, and Taeyeon to return everything that belonged to Daesan and leave from there. He gave time until Chairman Cha's wedding day, and now Dong Ju is a man who has the ambition to kill Seo who killed his parents. So, if he still wants to leave, Seo must leave Daesan. But Seo doesn't want to. It's better to kill him than to leave Daesan, because he was the one who raised Daesan. He thinks Daesan is his. It turns out that the hair tie that little Dong Ju wore was a gift from Seo to his mother when they were young. And then Seo called Mr. Yeom that he needed a gun. Wonbae brought food for Janggo and also Yongchan. Then Wonbae gave a novel at Janggo's request and Wonbae asked again where he kept the foul dandelion, but Janggo just said that it never existed. Then Yongchan gave a sign to Wonbae that said B7. That is one of Mr. Yeom's buildings managed by his boss. It is the 7th floor basement. Dong Ju gave the article about the accident to Un-nam and Dong Ju thought it seemed like Seo had several operations and was hospitalized for a long time. He felt that Un-nam had misunderstood, because she was shocked by her father's death. Dong Ju had found out everything, and not just from the article. Un-nam thought, if her mother didn't do it, then she would be relieved. She lived with hating her mother every day and was so scared. Because she thought that her mother and Seo were conspiring to kill her father. Dong Ju also calmed Nam down, so that she wouldn't think like that anymore, because he wanted Nam to be calm and that was enough for him. Nam asked her mother about the photo she got from Dong Ju, but when she saw the photo, her mother threw her cell phone. Her mother really hated the photo and asked Nam to delete it. Because she was curious about the photo, Nam called Dr. Kang's father and asked him to meet. Kang Sang felt it was natural that her mother hated the photo, because the photo was taken on the day of her father's accident. And there is no relationship between Sun Ho and Jaehyung. Dookie must have misunderstood. During college when they were still student activists, Sun Ho, Deokwi, Ildo, and he stopped acting to survive. However, Jaehyung did not give up and continued to fight for workers' rights. At that time, they were arrested, beaten, and even tortured. But even so, they never reported each other because they were very close. The child that Nam's father was holding was not Sun Ho's child. It seemed like he had to meet his mother and explain that. Kang Sang was curious about where Nam got the photo, because there was only one photo. Then Nam answered that the photo was from Dong Ju, and at that time Kang Sang remembered that he gave one photo to Song Hyen. Ildo met Mr. Yeom to prepare a weapon for him. Mr. Yeom was curious why Ildo suddenly asked for a weapon, what actually made him restless. Ildo explained that Dong Ju was Chu Jaehyung's son. Hearing that, Mr. Yeom was shocked because he felt that the child died with Chu Jaehyung in the accident. Ildo said that Dong Ju even knew that Yeo Sun Ho was his biological father. Dong Ju also threatened his family to leave Daesan. That Dong Ju remembered all the details of the incident that night, so Ildo had to find a gun immediately. But according to Mr. Yeom, they couldn't kill a man who managed 2 trillion won without the elder's permission. Then Ildo gave an idea that they would make it seem like he couldn't accept the fact that he was Nam's half-brother and committed suicide. Mr. Yeom felt that he was in a difficult situation. Ildo always took the bravest steps. But right now they needed Dong Ju alive until Ji Yong-soo became the wife of the owner of Daesan. After that they could determine Dong Ju's death date themselves. Dong Ju, Won Bae, and Yongchan came to Mr. Yeom's 7th floor basement. There they opened the place that his boss usually used to store valuables. But after opening, it turned out there was nothing in the box. Yongchan was confused because his boss had previously kept it there and they were annoyed with Yongchan. Meanwhile, Buho and his men broke into the place to detain Yongchan and Junggo. They broke into the place where Junggo was being held. When they were about to return Yongchan to prison, they were shocked when they found the padlock had come off by itself, and Dong Ju was shocked when he saw Junggo was unconscious with a body covered in blood. At that time, Dong Ju saw Junggo holding his novel, and when it was opened, it turned out that he had made a plan of where the dandelion was stored. Not long to wait, Dong Ju and Won Bae searched the plan and they found the dandelion file. Because it was recorded secretly, so there might be a lot of noise, so it took time to get an accurate transcript. Finally, Chairman Cha's wedding day came and Young-soo looked beautiful in a dress, but Chairman Cha felt that they were forcing him to get married. They knew that Chairman Cha's dementia had relapsed. Then Mr. Yeom invited Sianu to get into the car and talk to Chairman Cha. Mr. Yeom convinced Chairman Cha that if he wanted to live with his son, he had to marry a woman who he just met it, and Chairman Cha just obeyed Mr. Yeom's words. Dong Ju felt that Mr. Yeom was very cunning. Ildo got the gun he wanted, and at that time Kang Sang called him, but Ildo ignored the call. Then Won Bae called Dong Ju. He had gotten something from the dandelion file. Yeo Sun Ho's car accident was not covered up by Chairman Cha, but covered up by Mr. Yeom. Won Bae had sent the recording file to Dong Ju and he asked Dong Ju to check it himself. Dong Ju checked the file and it was stated that Ildo had killed his best friend, lover, and his own son at once. It turned out that Ildo had opposed the birth of a child, so the child was raised secretly, and the boy who died, his name was Chu Song Hyen. However, Ildo didn't know that it was his son. Dong Ju was a bit shocked, and after he checked the DNA test results, he was very surprised that it turned out that Dong Ju was confirmed as Il-do's son. Il-do called Dong Ju. He reminded Dong Ju not to forget in their meeting tonight. Dong Ju replied that he will forget because Il-do said that this is his last chance to beg for mercy from Il-do. Finally Dong Ju arrives at the place they promised. He wonders why it has to be there of all places. Il-do then says that it was there that he made his first big achievement in Daesan. Mr. Yeom tells Il-do to make sure Dong Ju dies. And Il-do answers that if he fails again, he will accept any insult from Mr. Yeom. And it turns out that Mr. Yeom is in the car monitoring their movements. Finally Dong Ju meets Il-do, and without further ado, he immediately shoots Dong Ju right in the chest. Dong Ju falls and Mr. Yeom is satisfied because of that. Then he calls Il-do and tells him not to shoot Dong Ju because he is his son. But Il-do kept pointing the gun at him, and at that time Dong Ju woke up. It turned out he was not injured. He told Il-do to shoot him again and Dong Ju called him father.